Hello Southies, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, my name is Ceci, and today I am here in the beautiful world of Brindleton Bay on I think it's originally called the Salty Paws Saloon. It's a EA Build bar that is very dark and moody and, you know, tragic as most EA builds are, and so I decided I wanted to rebuild on this lot a new bar that I have dubbed the Blue Apple. Now, don't ask me what that means because I have no idea. Just a name that I made up. And this bar is meant to have a very modern feel. It is supposed to be a place where your Sims can come and hang out and feel like, I don't know, they're just in a really cool spot, you know, very modern, cool spot. I think if you were to turn this into a cafe, it would also work very well. But for the purposes of this video, I wanted this to be a bar. And the idea is that it will be made out of very raw materials, wood and metal and glass, just very industrialized materials, but it will look really fancy. I never limit myself on packs. I feel like I really was all over the place with the packs. Like, I can't even think about a pack that I use the most of. Maybe a lot of Get Together. And as far as like the build, I used a lot of Eco Lifestyle and then a lot of Get Together. And then on the interiors, I used a lot of City Living, and then the Holiday Pack for some of the outside seating. But I really wanted this space to feel very indoor outdoor, and the indoor to feel like the outdoor is just sort of wafting in with the glass. You know, you can't really escape it. There's going to be outdoors at all times. And then on the top, there's a lounge area on top with a bus station. Off camera, I do put a bus station inside as well, because I didn't realize in the save file that it was winter. So when I went to go take the screenshots, or originally when I went to go take the screenshots, there was a blizzard. And so I thought that, oh, well, I'll leave it like that. I did end up moving it into a save file where it was at least fall, so that the pictures would turn out a lot better. But I did put a bus station on the interior. That way, if you do decide to put this in Brindleton Bay in the wintertime, your Sims can be entertained with some musical stylings on the interior if a musician refuses to go upstairs and outside, which is what the musician that I hired did. They refused to play outside in a blizzard, and I'm like, I have warmer stations up there, so I don't really know what its attitude was. But yeah, so I did build this build a while ago. I built it almost like a month ago, and it's already up on the gallery, and I had every intention of putting it here on the channel. However, I did end up, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I did end up contracting COVID-19. And so that kind of knocked me off my feet, and I really wasn't able to do anything. I didn't open my computer, let alone my game, for pretty much the entire time I was sick. I just sort of either laid in bed or laid on the couch and watched TV because I just didn't feel well at all. For me, it was more like a really bad flu mixed with like a chest cold and a horrible migraine. And so I did not have any severe symptoms at all, thank God. But it was pretty awful just kind of sitting in my apartment and all by myself and not really able to go out anywhere. I did have some friends that would, buy me some things and put it at my door, and I had Bite Squad. But I'm a really independent person, and I like things done kind of my way, and that's really hard. It's really hard to be so sick that you can't do anything for yourself, and it's extremely annoying. And if for those of you who are like control freaks or really independent, you understand that plight of, even when I'm like, well, I don't like asking for help because I always have very specific ideas for how I want things to be done. And sometimes when you ask for help, people don't get on board with your vision and they do their own thing, especially if it's like a time sensitive thing. That's really annoying when it's like, I have to do this and it has to be done in a certain time, and then you realize that in order to make whatever the thing is happen, you need help, and the people that have agreed to help you are like, they've never seen a clock before, they have no sense of time, they think the sun is just to heat up the earth period, and that's its only job. And it drives me insane, people who are late or people who don't get on board. And that's just kind of one example of, calling a friend and asking them, hey, can you bring me something? And, even if it's like on a Saturday and they're like, sure. And it takes them all day to bring you that thing. It's like, no, when I said that, I really wanted you to kind of drop everything you were doing and just do it for me. And that's not realistic at all. But when you're very independent and you're used to doing things for yourself, waiting is not fun. Your patience level is tested when you're having to wait on other people to do things for you. So I don't know, I feel like that was the biggest struggle when it came to me getting sick, was the relying on other people, even just relying on like delivery. Like Bite Squad, I could buy stock in Bite Squad as much as I used it, but I feel like every single order that I made from every single restaurant was wrong. Every single one. So it's like this thing where it's not necessarily Bite Squad's fault, but it's like the restaurants not reading the instructions or the ingredients or whatever. And there'd be times when, it's like 8 o'clock and I order something, and then all of a sudden I get a phone call from Bite Squad. Oh, they're not open, or they're not answering the phone. So it's like, oh, great. Now it's even later and there are even fewer restaurants that are open. So it was just, I don't know. I don't know that I will be using that service anytime soon anymore. I think I will, even when it feels extremely inconvenient, I will go drive and go pick up food, because I felt like every single day I ordered something, I was, on the little help chat to try and either get refunded or get something fixed. It was not cool. But anyway, I've kind of talked through most of the the building, because it's a pretty straightforward build. It's, like I said, very light and airy. There's not a whole lot going on with it, but it's all been player tested. I'm starting to clutter here, and I did want to put a little green in here, so you'll see me put some vines on this back wall here, which you could pretend are just fake. I don't know why you could pretend like they're real, because there's enough sunlight that you could pretend like, someone waters these vines hanging from the wall here every day, and they get enough sunlight from outside. I did want to put kind of an area where you would keep your wine bottles. So I put this little thing on the back and there's a diving dumpster that I put in as well. So I think if you did want to turn this into a restaurant, it would be extremely easy. You just take the lot itself, pull it forward a lot, and then take that little bump out and make it bigger, and you can put in all the things you need to put in to make this a restaurant, and then just a little hostess station. Bars have to have TVs, and I don't like having TVs in the bars, because TVs are one of those items that NPCs just gather around, and it's just kind of like, go do other things. Like, go do other things. So for me, I always, not always, but in sometimes when I'm just like, I really don't want there to be a TV in this bar, I will put a little room in the basement level and put a TV down there, just so I'm meeting the requirements. I did put, as you can see, a laptop to make it look like maybe someone sits here and works on stuff. So your Sims can use it, but I kind of, my sort of idea was that someone sits here in this bar pretty much all day and is on the computer. So yeah, like I said, player tested, and it was fun to play in. I like making community lots, but it is sort of stressful because you have to think about the fact that multiple Sims will be in this space. And so making sure that your Sims can move around. You saw me kind of rearrange those outdoor benches over and over and over again, because I'm trying to think about paths that Sims can take and that they won't take unusual routes to get from point A to point B. That's such a pet peeve of mine, when Sims take the weirdest routes, and it's all because like this one item is sort of quote unquote in the way. And I'm like, how is this blocking a clear path from point A to point B? Like, I don't understand why this one item that's not too big, not too bulky, but it is blocking everything. I really hate it when a light fixture does that, because it takes you even longer to figure out what the problem is when it's a hanging light, and you can't understand why your Sim won't go to an area, and you're just sitting there like, what is wrong? And finally, it's the light, which I don't understand how this light is blocking you from moving around. I don't know. My complaints with The Sims are complaints that nobody else has. It's that kind of stuff. It's routing. Maybe some of my complaints are things that other people have. Like, I hate it when I'm trying to have my Sim sit down and talk to an NPC that, especially in my Let's Plays, like, this NPC is a part of the story, but they won't sit down. And even when I group them, they will hop up and walk away. I'm like, my Sim is literally in the middle of talking to you. Please sit down. And it takes me forever to film just this tiny little scene, this tiny little moment when I want my Sim to be talking to this other Sim, and that other Sim is just not having it. They do not want to talk. And so, it's so frustrating. So yeah, things that we want from Sims 5 for your Sims to sit the F down and not move. And in my head, I'm thinking, this doesn't happen in real life. And that's not true. My dad does that in real life. When I'm trying to talk to him, he gets up and he wanders off. He's really bad about, let's watch a movie. And then we'll pop in a movie, and then like 10 minutes into the movie, he's up and he's walking away, and he's in the kitchen, and he's in his bedroom, and he's in his office, and he's anywhere but in the living room where we made the choice to congregate and have family time. My dad does not sit still. So I guess in a way, there are people IRL that never sit down no matter what. It's very frustrating when it's in The Sims. I'm like, please sit down. Just sit down. I love sitting down. Sitting down is my favorite thing in the world, laying down is even better. If I could just sit and lay down all day, I would. But then my bones would be in atrophy. I say that, but COVID, all I did was sit and lay down, and there were definite moments where I was just standing in my living room and just standing there, mostly because a lot of literature says to get up and walk around, that will kind of at least help with breathing, though I didn't have that much trouble with breathing. But yeah, there were moments where I just, I can't lay down anymore, I've got to stand up. But we are on the end of the build, getting ready to do the screenshots. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by way of pressing the like button. Comment down below your thoughts, and it can be on anything that I rambled on about. It could be on the build. Like I said, this build is already on the gallery, 25th and South. The TH is left out. And if you haven't already and you want to see more content from me, and hopefully I will be putting up more content soon, please subscribe. I would love to have you be a part of the South family. And as always, my name is Ceci, and I promise never to break your game. Bye.
Just the other day, saw you looking my way. I start to contemplate moments that went to waste. Why you do that? You drop me like who that? And put me through that. But baby, it's useless. I'm living my life. Don't need you in mine. Me feeling just fine. One of a kind. Who better than I? Oh. Shawty, don't play that game. Shawty, don't play that game. I won't keep you safe. Time that I relocate, don't play that game. Shawty, don't play that game. I know my place. Shawty, I know my. Got a lot to do, I got a lot to do, I got a lot to do. Got a lot of. At the crack of dawn, in the dark of night, what I got to do? Got to do. I'ma make it loud, how I made you scream like a cockatoo. Squall.